You know that it's fun to go out, except I never leave my house. I'm either at work or home, and it seems kind of pathetic just drinking alone. So if you got nothing going on, have some drinks with Ron.
Hello and welcome to Drinks with Ron. I'm Ron, having a rail mixer of whiskey and cola. Cheap whiskey, cheaper cola, a splash of lemon. That's the key. A little bit of lemon in there changes a rail Canadian mixed drink into something exotic. I just need an umbrella in this bastard and I'm practically on a damn island. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Drinks with Ron number 101. I kind of put the show on hiatus. That's because with my current schedule, shooting, filming, editing, and general show ideas aren't really on the front burner. So if I do one, it's going to be few and far between, and it's going to be because a significant event has happened, and that has happened. Last week, I went up to the Built to Spill concert in Madison, the Barrymore Theater. It was nice just to get out of the house, as you said right in the theme song of my show. It tells you I don't do often. But went up to Madison and tried to leave a little early. Stopped at an old buddy's house. Got to sample some home brews, which were very nice. One of his buddies made some kind of porter or stout that was very smooth, very good. And their homebrew I'd stack right up there with any porter or stout I've drank recently. So it was solid. So got there and I had a Dancing Man wheat from New Glarus. Went to head to my friend's house. We were going to the show together, and the idea was we'd take a cab from her house. Well, she called the cab, set up a time, and then when I wasn't there, some panic was starting to set in. So they called me to see where I was, and I was like, dude, I just pulled up out front, but now that I've just pulled up, I realize she sent me the wrong address. She sent me to their old apartment. So there we are now with a cab showing up. I have driven past her house and now have to backtrack. So I pull in, do the worst parallel parking job in the history of man. And I totally own up to that because I am normally, and even earlier tonight, I'm a very solid parallel parker. That's been a skill that I've always been pretty good with. And I'm not afraid to have to do it even in pressure situations. So I pull up, start to back in, and this is the worst part. I started thinking my park's not good enough. Not that I wasn't going to make it in, it's just I wasn't by the curb enough for my standard. So I pull out and take a steeper angle in, and then bump curb about there. And then I, did three more, like forward and back, forward and back. And by now, they're watching me do it. so now the pressure is mounting. But I get pulled in, call it good enough, get out of my car, throw my hoodie in it. The cab literally pulls up right then. So we head to the show. We're there a little bit early, and we see the opening band. I have to apologize. If you have me on Facebook, I know you're well aware of the opening band because I accidentally posted their picture like 12 times to my Facebook page. My wife told me about it the next morning, and I had to go delete 11 of them. But the Barrymore had shitty reception, and every time I tried to send a picture, it would get to like 88% and sit there, or even some ones that got like 100% and sat there. Well, you'd go look in your messages and it would have the red X for fail. Like, hey, they didn't send, I'll try it again. And so over and over and over. And yeah, all over Facebook. And the thing I posted that many times was opening bands on. No idea who they are. Well, close to the end of the set, curiosity got the better of us. And you know what? I'm not even going to tell you their name yet. I'll lay out the show. They came out, was being very respectful and courteous. Some nice applause for them. 3-man band power trio. They come out, dude, lead singer, guitarist, very tall, lanky, very skinny, long reddish curly hair, like tight denim jacket, looking real 80s. Bass player, short, stout fellow, rounder than me, I would even say. Had a kind of cool hat on and just wumping away in the bass. And these guys together look like '01. They look like the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard. 01. And started out really garagey, a little dirty. I'm not talking about content, just it was a little garagey. And then they pulled one of well, I kept saying to my friend, I kept telling her, like, look, this is their Woodstock. They're playing Barrymore, you know. We're at their Woodstock. So let's give it to them. Let's really applaud. So we were a little heavy-handed with the encouragement, but they got better as they went. As like a few more songs, they kind of warmed up and got a little tighter. Then they pulled the false ending. You know, when you hear a song and the band gives it to you and they slow it down. Oh, and then bring it back. Well, they did that to us. Then they did it again. Then they did it again. Same song, mind you. Then they did it again. And at this point I was laughing almost to tears. And then they did it again. These guys had like 6 false endings in this song. Like to the point where I had time to mock them during the finish. And I said to my friend, it's like, do you know how long they worked on this? Like this is they got us. They got it. We thought they were done at 5. They got us. And literally put like 6 false finishes on. And when they finally quit, it was so anticlimactic that the crowd was just like, okay, you're not coming back? Alright, well, you applause. So after this, I kept telling her, I said, well, I don't care what they're called, because for me, they'll always be known as Really Bad Pearl Jam. I said, isn't that what they sound like? It's like repurposing the joke from Wayne's World of the Shitty Beatles, but, and so I said, they're Really Bad Pearl Jam. I said, isn't that what they sound like? And I think she agreed grudgingly, but I mean, not like bad Pearl Jam, really bad Pearl Jam. And Pearl Jam's good, so really bad Pearl Jam. I think they should change their name to that because we found out that their name was The Warm Hair. The Warm Hair. I did a band name episode a while back, and that could have slid onto my list. I had to do a tip of the cap to the name, and it was very fitting, but not... I don't think you want that name to be fitting for your band. Next band came out with Slam Dunk. They were Canadian. They sounded like the Pixies, in a good way. High energy, 4-piece ensemble with a chick bass player. They were good. I said high energy. They got me back into it. I got to yell something to one of the guitarists as he walked by, and I talked to the bass player at the t-shirt stand. I had to tell him that the set was good. I enjoyed it. Like, I literally kept waiting for them to pull out, like, Where's My Mind, or Wave of Mutilation, or something from the Pixies, because it would have been good. They would have, like I said, chick bass player, they had the high energy, the sound, the mix, the EQ, the effects on it. They are the Canadian Pixies, to me. So Built to Spill came on, and sadly, that's probably what I'm going to talk about the least. It was a good show. It was a good set. I'd never seen the guy before, so it's weird connecting a band. It's kind of like meeting a DJ. You've always had this kind of idea in your head how they look, and then you meet a guy who sounds like me, and then you find out that he looks like me, because we did not picture you, Top 40 man. You said 8:52 and 72 degrees in downtown La Crosse, and I thought you were a strapping fellow with some... Nope, you a fat guy with goofy hair. So yeah, that's what this was kind of like. You see the band for the first time, and he looks like he could be related to a buddy of mine, Whizbomb. I mean, it's just, I told the friend of mine I was with was actually this guy's cousin, and he's the missing Whizbomb. He looked like him, and when he played, he flings his head around like this the whole show, which I was not prepared for. After a while, you don't notice anymore, but they played almost everything I wanted to hear, and it was a good set. And I said I'm going to talk about that the least, because it was what I expected, you know. From there, we were turned loose onto the streets of Madison, where I tried to steer my friend back to her apartment, because A, I didn't know where it was, and B, even if I did, I couldn't have gotten in. So I was kind of attached to her, for lack of a better word, and we just bounced around like crazy. First place we went into was a bar that had karaoke going on, and I feel like a terrible racist making the comment I called it was Asian karaoke. Not in a negative way, I'm just telling you that the bartender, the two guys running the karaoke, my friend and I, were the only people in the entire bar who weren't Asian. Not a bad thing, just painting the picture for you. And like I said, I feel like a racist making the Asian karaoke thing, and then I just stop and think that no, I believe that originates in Japan, and karaoke in Japanese actually means drunk people singing poorly. Which it doesn't. But, so yeah, and that just gives you, we're in good shape. We stumble into the bar, grab a pint off the tap, and before I notice, I've turned around and realized everyone is Asian and they're all singing karaoke. So I say, damn it, I want in on this. So I set forth to find some rap, which I did, and executed a nearly flawless, I had like 3 small trip-ups, but Jump Around, House of Pain, indeed, I rocked it. My only witness was apparently blackout drunk, and she doesn't remember the whole thing, so I guess you gotta take my word for it. Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe I totally went up there and did something else, because the only person who I know that was there doesn't remember me doing it. So if a tree falls in the woods, you know, that whole thing. But yeah. From there we went to a place with a blues band that at this point I was just hungry. So we finally called a cab, went home. Great night in the books. Sunday didn't feel as great, but it's a good weekend. Good to get out of the house. Good concert. Adventures in Madison, I tell you. I had planned, I got a hat that has the built-in ponytail, and my plan was to wear that and talk in like a surfer dude accent and like just be so cool to everyone I met there, because it was like cool to meet them, and I was really stoked. So that was my plan, but at a certain point it became too heavy lifting. I just had to focus on the concert and do one thing at a time. But I'm kind of regretting not wearing the hat, especially for karaoke. Yeah, it's weird. You go to Madison and you feel majorly overdressed. It's like, man, I'm at a concert. I'm that one guy, that one old guy that like put on a decent shirt to go to this show. Everybody else was too cool to bother doing laundry. So it was like, oh, not that I have a problem with that. I'm just saying. God, guys, if I'd have known, I would have wore a shirt with holes in it and shit. I could have been cool. High five? No. I'm old now. That's what I'm telling you. In a roundabout fashion, I've cross the line. The old guy at a concert. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So for Drinks with Ron, and the background for my show, signing off.